Hi everyone, I'm Apoorv, and I am the Flutter facilitator for your GDSC, and I'm also organizer of Flutter Bhopal. In this session, we are going to create our own Flutter application from scratch. And you don't need to even install anything or like make any download any SDKs or something. It will be simple, and you will be easily able to do it on your browser. So that is how easy it is going to be. And also about the Flutter Festival. So it is a 30-day long festival that is announced by Google to promote the use of Flutter amongst the developer community. And in this event, we provide community support to all of the folks who are trying to learn Flutter. So any one of your friends who might be interested in learning application development using Flutter can join our WhatsApp groups. I have shared. I'll share the link to the WhatsApp group as well. If you haven't joined it, we share resources and updates regarding to this Flutter festival on that group. So this was a little bit of introduction about the Flutter festival, and so let's move on to the contents. Okay, what is the contents of this current presentation that we are going to have? So I'll just give you a quick recap about the last event that we conducted last week on Sunday. So we'll see that. Then we'll move on to the very interesting topic in Flutter, that is the app architecture. And we'll not talk about really complex stuff out there. There is a lot of things out there, right? So we will try to understand how, like, what are the most essential elements of a app or a screen, whatever you see on the screen. What are the most essential elements of your application? So in the second point, we are going to do that in this second point. And then in third point, we are going to learn some fundamental Flutter widgets. Okay. So this is going to be very crucial if you want to continue your development journey in Flutter. So you need to learn about fundamental widgets in Flutter. So we are going to do that. And also after this, following this only, we will going to do your hands-on coding. And what I will do is I will create a small application, and you all can follow me along on this thing. So yeah, that is the fourth point I have over here. So it will be a lot of fun. So I'm really excited for this, and let's start with the session. Okay. So first, starting with the recap part. So recapping what I previously covered. So Flutter is basically developed by Google. It is open sourced. Flutter provides a wide range of widgets. I'll explain what these are, like text, image, cards, etc. It is cross-platform. This is the most interesting part. And if you attended our last session, we have also created our own application and launched it on Play Store as well. Last time I told that it's not launched. Yes, so it is launched right now. It's called Quizbanao. And you can visit quizbanao.com right now to see the landing page, and you can get the download links from there. And we'll conduct some quizzes on our own platform as well. So we are very proud of like creating our own platform for our events. So that is also one thing. And the one thing which is most interesting to me about this is our application works on web. It works on Windows. It works on your Android. We have also published it. And also, if I'm looking at some articles on the internet, we could actually make its Chrome extension as well, as I believe. So everything is possible because of this framework that they have developed, that is this Flutter framework. Okay. So again, same thing it is saying, using a single code base. So very important key term which is there, a single code base. So let's move on. Okay, so traditionally what used to happen is that if you want to create an Android application, right? An Android application that you want to create, you will use something like Kotlin or Java to do so, right? And from my experience, it's not that great in both of these languages. So I'm not a Kotlin or a Java developer, but every time I see what is going on in Kotlin, I just get intrigued about like the adapters and the recycler views and things like that. Maybe it's easy for you folks, but it's about me, like my personal opinion. Okay, so nothing about like it's general. So traditionally, you would go to your Kotlin or Java to create your Android applications, and for creating your iOS applications, you would go to something like Objective C or Swift language. Okay, so these are completely different things. Okay, if you know Kotlin, you cannot create applications for iOS unless you learn any of one of these things. if you're trying to if you're getting what I'm trying to say, right? So these are two completely different domains with completely different developers. Like there are different developers for iOS, like iOS app developers, and there are different developers for Android app developers, right? So what Flutter basically, and of course there are developers also, and there are application developers for Windows as well. So a lot of things, a lot of developers are there, right? So what Flutter tends to do is you can create your applications for the iOS. This is the iOS, Android, and the desktop, and also the web using a single code base. Okay, so now you do not need those lots of developers for for maintaining each single code base, like your iOS, your Android, and your desktop. But instead, what is there is a single code base now that you have, and in that a single code base, that single code base works for all of those platforms. So it's a really interesting thing that is going on. And now you might ask, like, how is this even possible, right? How is this even happening? Like these are, as I only told you that these are completely different platforms with completely different kinds of things, right? So that is all possible thanks to this engine that we have, that is Kia engine, which is a 2D rendering engine. If anyone has heard about rendering engines, or anyone has heard about game engines or graphic engines, so it's a 2D rendering engine written in C++ by Google team, and the Flutter under the hood uses this Kia engine to power its canvas, right? Its display. Now, this was a quick recap about our. This was the recap section that I wanted to take a quick recap actually about what all we covered in depth in the last week's session. If you haven't attended it, don't worry. We will share a link for YouTube link to that session as well in the WhatsApp group, I believe. So now let's move on to our second topic, that is the app architecture. Let's try to understand how an app actually works. So I'm assuming that you all are very beginner students or folks right here, and you want to understand each and everything that is going on, right? So with that in mind, I have planned this PPT, which is going to be ahead of you. So one code that I would like to give it to you straight up is that everything is a widget in Flutter. Everything. You can like if you want to if you talk about anything you want to write on the app, if you want to like anything, any image on the app you want to put, everything is a widget. Okay, so to remember this thing, you will hear it a lot in Flutter community actually. So now let's move on to the next slide and try to understand the core widgets that you really need to understand before moving on to anything else. Okay. So these are the list of some of few essential widgets. There are hundreds of widgets, and you can just like it's an ocean of widgets, I would say. You can simply go to the Flutter documentation to learn about more about them. But for today's purposes, we'll only consider a few widgets which are really important. That is scaffold, app bar, bottom navigation bar, drawer, and floating action button. Now, a lot of words I have taken right now. So let me go through them one by one. So what is a scaffold? Okay. In English language, scaffold just means your structure. Okay. So what does a scaffold mean? It simply means structure. So there is a widget in Flutter which gives you the structure of an app. Okay. So that widget is called as scaffold. It will be the actual structure of your application. Just understand this with a structure. Okay. The second thing is app bar. Okay. So in some applications, let me try to draw some kind of phone here. In some application, right, you would have seen something like, let's say, Facebook written over here, like this. And then there would be some post here, some content here, and then there might be something like this in the bottom. That would be your bottom navigation bar. Like this can be your maybe video section. This can be your profile section, and this can be your home feed section. So this is basically your nothing but your bottom navigation bar. Okay, and this is your app bar. So what is app bar? App bar is this thing. This thing here is app bar. What is the bottom navigation bar? This thing which you see in apps, right? It is the bottom navigation bar. So these are the two things. And the third thing which is written over a drawer, right? So for example, in some applications, what you might have seen is, let me try to draw another screen over here. In some applications, there is a button given over here, right? In web world, you call it navigation drawer, something of that sort. So if you click on this button, what happens is a drawer pops up like this and gives you a bunch of options in your app. Okay, so this is called as a drawer. We will see examples. I'm just telling you verbally right now. We will see examples of these things. Okay, don't worry. And in some other applications, you might have seen something like this floating action button right here, like plus button to make a transaction or do something. So this is all called a floating action button. Okay, a messy figure that we have over here. So, and what is scaffold? Scaffold is the entire thing, entire structure of this thing, right? It's the scaffold. So if this sounds confusing to you, don't worry. We are going to take examples just in the next slide. So let's move to the next slide. Okay. So here I have two pictures of two different applications that I actually developed and worked on previously. One is a news application and another is a multi-vendor e-commerce application that is over here. So let me just take out this thing. Okay, so we can already analyze the components, right? As I told you, this part would be your app bar, right? This is your entire body, right? And this is your bottom navigation bar. Okay, so now let's see. So bottom navigation bars are here in both of these diagrams, and both of these apps are made in Flutter, and like I only worked on these things. So this is a bottom navigation bar, okay, which contains bunch of sections, right? Like this, like search section, like bookmark section, like your profile section, and here categories, favorites, chat, and basket kind of thing. Then what we have is your app bar, as I discussed. You might think that this is pretty trivial stuff, right? Very basic things, but remember me that you will need a clarity on all of these things in order to like learn more advanced widgets. So it's good if you already know this, but if you don't, just hear me out. Okay. And the entire these things, these are called the body of the application. Okay. So three things which I have taken right here. That is the app bar, bottom navigation bar, and body. Now let's move on to more widgets that we can see. Okay. So this is the next slide that I have. Okay, this is a much more complex screenshot of an app that I worked on. Okay, so it's basically a project I created about a year and a half back or 2 years back. So let's check it out. What are the widgets? Let's try to identify the widgets. Okay, so this is a very easy one, right? This is the app bar here. This is the app bar, and this is the button that I was talking about, right? That opens up the drawer. So this button over here, it opens up the drawer, and drawer is like, now you're able to see like this. This is the drawer part which I was talking about. This entire thing. This is a drawer. This entire thing is a drawer, okay? And how you can make these things, we will talk about it in a very next slide in the code, actual coding part, right? So this is a drawer actually. And now move on to, let's see, like scaffold, material lab I'll talk about later. Okay, so every text that is written over here, right? This is text, this is text, 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 lot of text, right? So everything, every text that you see on the screen is controlled by text widget. Every image that you see on the screen, like this one, this Lego kind of Lego guy. So it's again an image. This grid that you see over here, this is a grid, right? Grid of boxes, and so this is another grid widget. There is also stack, which you cannot see it very clearly, but there is a stack used there. There is a row. All of these elements are in a row here. And similarly, there are switches. These are the switches. These faded lines are the dividers, and icons like this thing, right? So everything is a widget. All of these things are widgets. And we also have a bottom navigation bar here. Okay, so I think that's enough of the theory part, right? So if anyone wants to ask anything till now, they can just type it in the chat box. I can check it out. Otherwise, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move to the actual coding part. Okay. So what we are going to do actually, let me show you. So we are going to start with this thing. Okay. So this workshop was primarily intended to give you some sorts of little bit of experience with this thing, this coding part, right? So what we are going to do, we are going to create this application. So what is this application? It simply has an app bar. Like if you look carefully over here, it has an app bar here. This is an app bar, and it does not have a bottom navigation bar. You can add it if you want, but I have not added it right now. And it has a simple body saying that this is my first application, like this. Very trivial and simple application, right? Let's try to understand the code. I have the code of this thing at the left, okay? And this exact code, if you type it in a Flutter environment, you will be able to get this exact response, exactly the same thing. Okay, I've just copied it from the Flutter environment that I was working with. Now, like any other language, there are some imports. You don't need to worry about it. There is void main. Like if you are from some language like Java, if you ever did like there is a thing called public static void main. If you are from C++, there is also int main. You might have seen. So a similar kind of thing exists here also. That is void main. Which simply returns another function. So don't worry about this thing. You can consider it boilerplate for now. You can consider this class also boilerplate for now, or the most parts of this class. Like this is a stateless widget. Okay, so I'm not going to talk about stateless and stateful widgets. There are two kinds of widgets essentially. Again, there is all this boilerplate here, and the most important part is the part which is there in this black part. Okay, this black part. So if you see, there is some code in this black part, right? So what this is the main part which I want to talk about right now. So now you see, okay, I talked about app bar, right? Let me change the color. Let's take yellow. I think that would be fine. So let's talk about the app bar, right? So this is the code which is producing the app bar. So here is the app bar, okay? This much code you need to write this app bar, and inside it you have text which says hello to. You can type it your name. You can type your name there. Like you can write my app bar. You can write your name there. Okay, nothing to worry about that. And you have the body. Okay, so this is the body. Very simple, like very trivial stuff. Okay, entire of these things you can consider it boilerplate for now. What is boilerplate? The code that you already need to write in order to like make your program run. Kind of like my definition, but you don't need to worry about this code. Okay, this is the code you need to write at least so that you start your application, and I'll paste it in this chat window. I'll paste it in the chat window. Okay, don't worry about that. I want to make you understand that how this simple code is producing this screen. Okay, and like I've not seen something this simple in like any of the languages. Right, in React you need to write some JavaScript things, and you need to do the CSS as well, and like it's pain for me. Like CSS is pain. My opinion again, and again. So in other frameworks as well, but here it's very trivial and easy. Okay. Now, to start with the actual coding part, I'm going to ask you something that if okay, if you guys are going to follow along, you can just type +1 in the chat. Can you do that? If you guys are going to follow along, just type +1, and I'm going to show you like how to exactly do that. I'm stopping to present right now. All right, Akash says yes, he is going to follow along. Very cool. Farina says so. Shagun, Ishita, really cool. Ashwin, Saurabh, Vandana, Soumya, Srajal, Jan, Abhishek, Chatradi. All right, all right. Parth, Jan, Apni. So I think a lot of people are going to follow along. So that's really good that you guys are going to follow along, and I really appreciate your efforts. Okay, so let me tell you how you can do this thing. Okay, so let me share my screen again. Just a second. Okay, I believe you are able to see my screen right now. All right, I believe you are able to see me and my screen right now. So I forgot to turn on the camera itself. Like, sort of thing. Okay, again, so let me close this thing. Okay, so now what you can do is just go to this thing, floodlab.io. And I'm going to paste this thing in the chat as well. Go to this website, okay? Not the profile section, actually, just go to floodlab.io. I should remove the profile section. Yeah. Go to this thing and it will ask you to create an account. Simply create an account, like it's free of cost, okay? Simply create an account there. And we are going to use this Floodlab to make your thing work, right? Simply go to this Floodlab website and let me just log. I think I don't remember my password, so I'm not going to log out. It will be a lot of trouble then. So once you go ahead and create an account on this thing, what you can do is simply go to this new project, give it a project name, like I'm going to give it Flutter Festival Workshop. And it's going to ask you a package, right? So what do we keep it as a package? Let's leave the package empty, okay? Let's leave the package empty. And for the choose code base part, what you can do is, there are like bunch of examples given over there. You can check those out. I'm going to route stateless hello world. I'm going to select this one, hello world. State. So this is the configuration that I'm working with, okay? Let me write this down as well. Once you create this account, after creating account, what you need to do is choose hello code base one. Then type project name as whatever you like. Then the next step, leave the package part empty because I think it's optional. Once you are good with your Android app development, you will understand what this package is and why do we need it, okay? And make sure your project is null safe, okay? Check that box, okay? All right, so I've written all this. So I've given the instructions there, and now I'm going to create this project. Okay, so you see I have two projects now. Other one was this animations project, which I created earlier. And now this one, this is the thing which I have. Let me open this project. Okay, so if anyone is facing issues till here, just let me know. Okay, just type in the chat box if you're facing any issues till here. So you will see a lot of code over here. Okay, don't worry about it. I'll guide you through it. If anyone is having any issues till now, till the point I am, like, just let me know in the chat box. We can see if we did any setting or something wrong. And if you're done with this thing, what you can go do is simply build this project. Okay. Okay. Can you repeat the recent steps after login? Okay. Yeah. So Akash, all the steps are written over here. Okay. In this message. Look at the message just before yours. Okay. There are all the steps that you need to follow. Yeah. So just go ahead and come till here. Okay. Yeah. Vinay have raised a hand. Okay. Do you want to say something, Vinay?
Hello. I
Yes.
cannot
Yes,
see
Vinay. Yeah.
chat box. I'm not able to write on a chat box. Chat box option is
Achha,
not
you are
available.
not able to write on the chat box, is it so? Okay.
Yes.
Let me check the settings. Oh, that's a good point. If you are not able to write. I think I have the settings enabled from here. Is anyone else facing the same issue that you're not able to type in the chat box? Because I can see that I have enabled the
I
settings, right?
I
Yeah.
joined the meeting 10 minutes late. Is that the reason that I cannot access chat box?
No, no, that shouldn't be the reason. Acha, you can tell me if there is another issue. Like, okay, if anyone is facing issues with the chat box, because I can see I have enabled it, you can simply unmute yourself and ask it. Okay, don't worry. You can unmute yourself and ask if you're having an issue like that. Okay, okay. So I'm repeating that if you have any issues like that, you can unmute yourself and ask your question if that is so.
Sure.
All right, all right. So are you guys done with this much part? And should I move on now, or you guys are like still figuring out creating the app? You can hit the build project. So I've pressed the build project here, and it will take a minute to build the project actually. So now the thing is that this entire thing is working on your browser, right? You don't need to install anything. This is the like best thing I like about it, that you don't need to install a heavy SDK like 700 megabytes of SDK, and don't need to have a like really good laptop like 8 GB RAM laptop to like run this thing. It will all run in your browser, and it's really powerful. This Floodlab tool that they also have a student program, I believe. You can apply for it if you guys use it a lot. That is one thing that you can do. After this, we are going to conduct a quiz as well. It will be about all the things that we have covered so far. Okay, so now you see what is save it. Okay, yes, sir, my OS sometimes yeah, exactly. So this is a problem that Aditya Jan is saying, that sometimes this operating system starts to lag, and like because those SDKs are heavy, right? It's a lot. It occupies a lot of RAM. So if you are working on Flutter, you can use this resource that I am telling you, floodlab.io. So if you're able to see my screen, here you will be able to see that the exact application which I showed you in the presentation, right? A similar kind of application has been opened up on your, has been like similar kind of application, right? Has been opened up on this thing. But the code is very different. This is a lot more code than what I was telling. So don't worry about it. I'm going to give you my code that is written on this PPT. Just copying this code and pasting it in the chat. So what you guys can do is, okay, let me try it out first myself, and I'll give it to you. So I'm removing everything, like select everything, remove everything. We don't care, like make it a blank file, okay? And then paste the code which I'll give you. Okay, now you see there are some issues where due to the PowerPoint. Okay, I'll send you this code now. Now if I hit this hot reload, I think this exact code should be running here. Okay, it is saying build failed check. Did I miss something here? Okay, let me just stop this thing which is running, close, and let me try to run it again. Maybe because I changed the main function, the thing is there. Once this code starts to work, I'll give you this code and we can move along. So actually you need to remove everything from that file, which whatever is there, okay? Remove everything. That is a little bit more code than what we actually need right now. Okay, it's building again. Okay, it's saying some more issues are there. Let's check the logs. I believe this is happening because I copied everything to your PowerPoint and then tried to copy it back here. So it added some random characters and ASCII values, which is saying here, like you, this thing. Oh, okay, okay, okay. This is bad news. Let's see if we are able to run this thing. I didn't expect this to happen. Okay. If this does not work, what I'll do is I'll make it the work other way around. I'll not use this code. I'll write it down on my own again if this does not work this time. So if you are understanding the issue that is going on, the issue is that I copied that entire code to this PowerPoint, okay? And PowerPoint might have inserted some wild characters into it. Like I use some text highlighting here and some other kinds of things here and there. So maybe that is the reason. And I tried to copy this entire thing from the PPT itself. Okay, it's not working. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit Control C and get my old code back. Okay. So this is my old code. Don't what I'm going to do, I'm going to build this. Now I'm going to make changes to this only to make it look exactly like that. Let me do that first. You guys can try to run it and like play around if you want to till then. So yeah, pro tip, right? Don't just copy paste code from PPTs, which has been formatted. This is a formatted text, formatted code. Actually formatted it so that it's easier for me to explain. It's not copyable, I believe. Okay, so this has started successfully, thank God. Like this didn't add any issues. And now what we are going to do is, uh, I'm going to remove everything from line 22 to end of the file. Then what I'm going to do, I'll remove everything from here also. From line 10 to line 18, I'll remove everything like this. I'll write my own code and I'll send this code to you. This should be work. This should work for you. So I'll write home. I'll create a scaffold. So this is actual code along going on, right? I'm like stuck with this issue. And now what I'm going to do, I'm give it a body. Let me give it a body of text and write this is my first app. And let's give it a app bar. Oh, not here. Actually, in the scaffold, we need to give it. Okay, is app bar not the exact thing? You can hit Control Space to bring out all the options. It's really helpful. It will autocomplete those things for us. So like, let's give it a title of text and write down my app. I'll save this thing and press hot reload. Hot reload. Okay, don't press this build again. It will just ruin the entire project again. So okay, now you see my app is working here. So I'll share this code with you guys. This will work exactly. Okay. So remove everything in your file and just type in this code which I'm giving to you. I believe Markdown is not supported in this PPT or in this Teams chat. Supported in Discord, I guess. Okay, so I've shared you the code in the chat box. Just go ahead and copy paste that. And let's move forward with it. Once you're able to run this thing and get up till this point, just let me know. Or if any issues you are facing, like I faced a lot of issues here, just tell me that as well. So guys who are following along, just try to paste and run this thing. Something like this should appear on your screen, okay? How do I actually change the size of this thing? Device size, display for, okay, cool, got it. Right, like this. Okay, so let me take out my PPT. So this should be clear to you guys. I explained this code right in the PPT. Now, one thing that you will see is that the text written here is in the center and the text here is not in the center, it's in the top. So why is that happening? because the code here contains extra thing called as believe. Oh, it's not there. Okay, so don't worry about that. Okay, done. Cool, Akash, done. All right, so let's wrap it with a center widget. Okay, so hit Control dot on the text widget, and it will bring up this menu and wrap it with center. So I'll write these instructions down in the chat as well. Do as I say. Bring hit control space, control space or control dot. Cool, Somen. Control dot, and it will. So yeah, it will bring up a menu and select wrap with center. Let me do it again. I am hitting Control Z, hit Control dot. It will bring up this menu and simply do wrap with center. It will automatically wrap it with center and hit hot reload. Okay. If I hit hot reload now, this text is now in center. This is exactly like what I want you to do with this thing. Okay. I just want you to bring it in the center. You can do this. It's pretty simple. And now let's move on to the next slide. Okay. Now, after doing this, you might say that my text is very small, right? This is barely visible. And in the recording, I don't even think that it will pop up. So what you might want to do is you might want to increase the font size, right? So what you can do is there is this style property. I've highlighted here in the text in the black. You can use the style property and give it a font size of, let's say, 25. Okay. So let's try to do this thing. Inside of this text, I'm going to open a style parameter. And you see it is automatically recommending me this thing. Like if you see over here, it is automatically saying style. Okay, I hit enter and I give it text style. And give it a font size of 25. I'll share this code as well with you guys. Okay, don't worry if you're not able to see it clearly. Okay, so you see my font size has been increased. Let's increase it a bit more. I'll share this code also right now. Okay, so how much code should I share? This is the required code that you will need. So I should share this thing. Yeah, up till this center, I'll share it with you guys. Because this is redundant, right? Yes, we can change the font also. There is no issue in that. You can do everything. You can like whatever you will say, you can do that. If someone is UI designer here, this is the perfect tool to develop your UI, right? I'll tell you more tips and tricks in upcoming sessions or like it's in some later session. But yes, you can change the font, you can change the colors, you can change how the letter spacing is, the word spacing, and all those kinds of things. Okay, so this is the I've shared you the code which you need to like change the font size. You can explore other properties also. If you hit comma and press control space, you will be able to see like this. Okay, like this, comma, control space. All the other properties are there, like color. Let's change color to colors dot. Let's say, let's bring it to blue and hit hot reload. Yeah, so you see my color has been changed. Okay, now moving on. This was a text widget. Okay, this was text widget, and there are a lot of properties like styling, font size, color, background color, letter spacing, word spacing. You can give it decorations, soft wrapping, overflow. I'm not going to cover all of them. Like it will take another hour to do all of these properties. But if you want, you can get it to know in the Flutter documentation, or like you can tell me simply in the group or feedback that you want to see a specific thing built. Now let's moving on. Okay, we are moving on. Now what I want to do is, let's say you get bored with this entire text thing, right? You say like, okay, it's text. We can do all of these things. So what? Like I want to bring in an image. How do I do that? And it's pretty simple actually. Here I have brought like a screenshot of a simple image inside of this app, and you see what has changed here. The scaffold and the app bar remain the same. Nothing has to be changed there. The only thing which is changed here is instead of this text, now I have this image. As simple as that. I'll do it in front of you and share the code. Okay, don't worry. So let's go to texas.com. It's Creative Commons images, so free to use. That's why I'm here. So let's see where do we want to go. Let's check out the city night section. Okay, really stunning pictures that we have. Let's open a picture here. This looks good. Let's take this thing. Copy the image URL from the top. And now what I want to do is remove this text widget. Okay, there is also a remove utility, right? If you open up this menu, okay, it's not here in this editor, it's there in VS Code and Android Studio, I believe. So remove this thing entirely. And instead of this, write image.network because we want to copy it from a network. And give the URL here. It's pretty long. So we don't worry about that. So let's hit hot reload. And what you will see is the text is gone now. Okay, now there is this image inside of this application. This is how easy it is to like bring in stuff, like make changes and see the changes reflected right in front of you. This is a cool feature of Flutter that is hot reloading. So this is hot reloading. Okay, I have now moving on to another thing. You can try this thing out. I'll share this much code with you also. Let me just paste it in the chat. Bring images in your app using this code. This entire thing is just URL. Okay, don't get frightened out with this. How long this thing is? It's just an image URL. We cannot do anything in that. Change the specific code, and you will be able to see this thing like this. Now let's move on to another thing. Okay, now are you guys ready to move on to the next another thing? Right, that is like if you want to add multiple images, like this is one single image, right, in the center of the screen. What if I wanted to add a lot of images, like one below the other? Are you guys doing it, or like shall I move to the next part? You can just comment in the chat. I'm going to move to the next part. Doing it? Okay, okay, cool, cool. Shagun, you can try it out. I'm waiting for 5 minutes, okay? Okay, okay, cool, cool. Cool, cool. Try out this till this image part, and then we'll move on to another widget that is a little bit complex. We'll see it later on. If you face any issues in that, you can check that also. Aditya Singh, yeah. So I have opened this slide for you, Aditya. If you are done, you can try to implement this code on your own. You will be able to do it. It's pretty easy. But I'm not explaining it. I'll explain it when the other guys also say that they've also done this. Okay, I've opened the slide for you. If you want to try it out, just go ahead. Acha, also do let me know if you're done. Okay, like otherwise, like how will I know? Done. Cool, cool. Nandini, Vandana, and Saurabh. Guys are done. Okay, Vandana is done. Saurabh, Soumya done. Cool. Okay, Saurabh is also done. I think most of you are done by now, and it's really very easy. Like you would have seen this thing, right? How easy it was. Path also is done. Okay, cool, cool. So I think most of the people are done. And now let me explain what is going on here. Okay. So we were here actually, we simply put in one image over here, okay? Now what I want is a column of images, right? So what I can do is, there is a column widget, okay? How surprising, it's a column widget, okay? So this allows you to do exactly what we are talking about. So imagine this yellow one is an image, okay? Yellow is an image, green is an image, blue is an image, purple, green. All these are images and they are one below another. So how do I do this? I do this using the column widget. So another interesting thing that it has two properties, that is cross axis and main axis. I think like we all have studied like about mathematics, right? Cartesian system and something like that. So there are two kinds of axes over here. That is, one is the cross axis and another is the main axis. Main axis of a column, of course, because it's a column, it has to go from top to bottom, and it has to be called the main axis, right? And the other one, that is called the cross axis. So the main axis is from top to bottom in case of a column. So now let's see how do we use this column widget. Okay, here is the code for this column widget. I'm going to write it here. I'm going to write it here in front of you. Okay, so let me just minimize this thing to here. Very big. Okay. First of all, I need to remove this center widget. Okay, because a column has its own way of arranging its elements, like 1, 2, 3, 3. So column will arrange it according to itself. So I need to remove this center widget. Okay, so there is this remove this widget option here. Hit Control dot on the center and just select remove. Now we only have this image here. I'm going to cut this entire. Oh, okay. First, okay, I'll type all of these things. One, remove the center. It using control plus dot remove widget. Thing that you need to do is you need to hit control dot again. I'm typing it out and then I'll do it. Over what? Over your image. And what you need to do? Okay, you need to do wrap with column. So this is the thing that I'm going to do. I've written the instructions in the chat. So I'm going to hit control dot and wrap with column. As simple as that. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy paste this exact image. You can use another URL here. It's up to you. Like for example, I can go to here and choose a landscape. Let's do that. Okay, let's copy the URL and paste it over here. This. Now if you bring this up and hit hot reload, we should see some expected results. Yeah, so exactly, you see what has happened here, that images are now one below the other. Okay, so as we were discussing in the presentation, and one another thing that you are able to see, that these images are like, these images are not like this, right? These are like this kind of. So like, how do we do that? Okay, so I told you something about like this main axis, right? So we need to align these images that are two images, one over the other, and we need to align them according to their main axis, that is the vertical axis. So how do we do that actually? We can simply go to this column and write main axis alignment. And select main axis alignment dot space between, or not space between, space evenly, I would say. We want them to be spaced evenly. So let me hit hot reload and let's see the results first. I'll share this app with you guys then. Okay, now see, this is the expected behavior that we have. So I'm going to share this code with you. Okay, let's do one more thing, then I will share this code. Or let's say you want to add a third image, right? You want to add a third image, and it will easily overflow. It will overflow this thing. If I do it like this, Now you see it has overflown this because like there was no space on the screen, and here you get an error. So there are other ways to resolve this error. Okay, there is one way, like you can use a list view if you are using multiple kind of thing, and you can remove this main axis alignment. There are other ways to deal with it. But for now, I'm not going to do the overflow kind of part. That would be a bit more complex than what I want it to be right now. So I'm not going to take the overflow case. But if you want to know what do we need to do in that case, in overflow case, you can use a list view. You can ask me after the session how to use it. I'm not going to use it in the PPT right now. I'm going to paste. Okay, let me just run this thing again. And, oh, not this. It will build again. All right, cool. We are back. So I'll paste this code here. Okay, so this is the code that you can use to use the column, and you will have two images. You can create a wallpapers app, right? You can create an app which has like you can put a row, you can keep a sliding animation, and like yeah, you can figure out that way, right? You can create a wallpapers application like this. If you are like knowing how to do API calls and all of these things, like you can do that as well easily. You can also publish it on Play Store, on iOS Store if you have that account, and a lot of other places. Okay, so do you guys want to try it out, or I should move on? Like, I'm not going to explain a lot of these things because that like it will take another few hours to like complete everything, like this nested columns and things like that, right? So this was about column. Similarly, there is also row. In main, in case of row, the main axis is this particular axis. It's the main axis. Okay. In case of row, this axis, which is the horizontal axis, is the main axis, obviously, right? And how do you build complex layouts? You can build complex layouts by combining these rows and columns. Like, for example, like I have presented this slide here. Like, what you can do, this is one row. This entire can be one row, and this entire can be inside of a column. This entire can be inside of a column, and this entire can have two columns. So this one element and this second column, which again has two elements. So like this, you can build complex layouts very easily. So that is also a case. Okay. Okay, so this was the thing, and so yeah, that's it's from my side for today, I believe. I have a quiz for you guys to take right now. I'll share you the link. Just a second. So let's check it out if this thing is on. Right. Okay, so we have our website over here, but like how to actually get this quiz. Okay, so we actually have published our application on the Play Store. If you guys want, you can just simply install this application and try it out. We have developed this application on Flutter, and I'm going to give a quiz on this thing right now. So the quiz ID will be, if you are familiar with it, the quiz ID will be, just let me check what is the quiz ID. It's Flutter Basic. I'll type it out for you guys. It's Flutter Basic. Flutter Basic. So this is the quiz ID that we have. So I want you guys to go to this application, install this application, or and just check it out, right? And like if you don't want to install the application, then you can simply hit to this web page. It's the web version of this quiz Banao application. So I have here is this web version of this application. I'll share the link to this as well. So you will notice one thing, it works exactly the same on the Android and the web because it's made from the same code base. Okay. And I can use the quiz ID here. Let's do test. Let's type in my email. Okay, I'll take the quiz after you guys have done it. Okay. So are you if you are done taking the quiz, just let me know. Okay. I am trying it out on my phone. Meanwhile. So we are tracking the results of all of these quizzes. We tracked the results of the previous quiz that we conducted. We are going to track the results of this quiz as well. I'll share these exact things in the Flutter updates channel, WhatsApp group as well. Okay. I am trying this thing out on my phone actually. I'll try it out with you guys just in a minute after we all have done the quizzes. Okay. Okay, let's try to look at the leaderboard, what's going on. The quiz ID is Flutter Basic. View leaderboard. Okay, so a lot of you guys have already given the quiz. That is Avni Jan is here at the top. Then it's Dell. Uh, I don't know your name, so like how will I coordinate if we get the swag request from the Flutter Festival team? Second, third is Ankur. Fourth is Khan, Farina, and so on and so on. Okay, so I think most of you have given this quiz, right? 14 people have given the quiz. So I'll disable the quiz now and like I'll give it myself now. I'm going to give it in front of you guys. So let's see. Cool, cool, yeah. So my email address and the quiz ID, which is let's go to each and every answer after this. Okay, which is the default app created when you execute the Flutter create command? Okay, it's a counter app. Okay, it's a counter app. App bar is usually situated in which part of the application? It's on the top right. I covered it multiple times. The previous question, I think you guys would not know about it. And everything is a widget, right? It's a widget. I'll remove my result. Don't worry at the end. I'll remove my result. It will not be counted. Any result from our team will not be counted. Which is the following used to add the icon above? Okay, it's a drawer, I think. Okay, bottom, it was floating action button at the bottom right. I messed it up. The switch is used to perform which type of action? Binary actions. I believe this should be it. Which rendering engine does Flutter uses? Unity, Dart, Uija, what is Uija? Skia, it's Skia. Okay, but this result, I'll just remove this result. It will not be counted. Okay, don't worry. The first position is still with Avni, second with Dell, right? And third with Ankur, and so on and so forth. I'll just remove this from the backend. Don't worry. So again, so now thank you guys for being a part of this thing, for showing up to the event. Really grateful for that you guys showed up, and so many people have followed along followed along the event. If anyone wants to ask anything, any particular thing, then you can simply ask. I'm stopping the recording, and the session is officially over. Okay.